Welcome to the Game of Life podcast, where we bring you inspiring softball stories, insightful tips from coaches and players, and explore how the game transcends its boundaries to become a metaphor for life. Whether you're a sports enthusiast, a casual fan, or someone just looking for inspiration, you're in for a treat. We'll unravel the tales that go beyond the scoreboard. Discover how perseverance and hard work on the field translates into resilience in your daily challenges. Learn about teamwork, leadership, and the unwavering spirit that fuels success, not just in sports, but in the game of life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Game of Life. Hope everyone's doing well. We have a very special guest on today. I'm very excited to introduce. She's got a great name too, Allie. And so this is Allie Lamoureux, who's on with us today. So I was lucky enough to be teammates with her at Binghamton for a few years. She grew up in the Binghamton area and was the America East Player of the Year last year. So give her creds for that right away. But Al, do you want to introduce yourself? Just kind of tell everyone a little background, however far back you want to
go. All right. So I was born. No, I'm just kidding. So obviously I'm Allie, but spelled with IE, the better way, obviously. But yeah, so Allie and I go way back. We played high school sports against each other. Yeah, and
basketball and softball.
Basketball and softball. She didn't play soccer.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I know.
And you don't have to play hockey at Horseheads.
No, yeah.
But, yeah, so spent my 4 years at Binghamton. I just graduated in the spring, and yeah.
Do you want to talk about kind of how you got into softball, the other sports you played, kind of like what age you started on them, and how much you love them, and kind of developed through each of those sports throughout the years?
Yeah, so starting like way back when I was like younger, like 5, 6, like even earlier, my parents put us in a lot of different sports camps, sports like organization, rec leagues, whatever. And we were always just doing stuff outside the house. Like I had 3 younger siblings, and 2 of them are really close in age. One of them's a little younger than me, so it was hard to do stuff with her. But we would always just be doing stuff. We would play flag football with our neighbor flag. That sometimes escalated, but we played football, we played wiffle ball. We have huge backyard, huge space. So we were always outside doing something, especially around here, you only get a few months of sunshine. So taking advantage of that, we would go to the gym, we would shoot basketball, like play kickball. We were just always doing something regardless of what it was. And I was fortunate enough to have a younger sister that was close enough in age. She's 3 years younger than me, and she plays basketball at Fairfield. So she'll be going into her sophomore year. And she's a very motivated person, very work driven. She has a good work ethic. So having her and kind of taking her under my wing also kind of forced me to be a good role model for her. And so we did a lot of stuff together. We would, like, even if it wasn't like basketball or softball related, or we both played soccer, we would always be like, we would go down to the turf and we'd bring lacrosse sticks. Yeah. Neither of us would play lacrosse in our life, but we would just have fun. We'd play, like, throw football, just doing a bunch of random stuff. So I think that was also a big thing, in having parents that were willing to take us everywhere. I'm sure, as Paul and Stacy know, but especially there were 4 of us, so everyone was on 3 different travel teams for every sport. Yeah. But I
feel like that's pretty cool too, that they gave you the opportunity to like pick what sports you liked and weren't like, here's what you're gonna do and you're gonna like it.
Yeah, like when we were younger and we did all those camps, it was every sport, and then we kind of weeded some out as we went along. But yeah, like lacrosse was not my favorite thing in the world, but we were put in the camp. Just try it, see if you like it. If you don't like it, don't keep doing it.
Move on. Yeah.
On to the next.
Yeah.
But yeah, just always doing something, I think, was a huge thing, and just kind of being around people that have the same type of motivation and same interests as you. Like I also had a lot of friends that were very goal oriented, and I also wanted to play sports in college. Like it wasn't until my sophomore year the end of my sophomore year, I didn't know what sport I wanted to play in college. I was leaning a little bit more towards basketball, to be honest, but then I realized how much running that was, so kind of deterred me a
Ah.
little bit. So that was every basketball player out there.
I was just gonna say you were very good at both, so that was actually my next question. You read my mind how softball kind of made it to that top position, I guess.
Yeah. I think I realized I could go a little bit further with softball than basketball. And also, I'm gonna be so honest, running every day did not seem that appealing. So
You gotta love what you're doing, so
yeah, exactly. And running is
yes.
running that much. But I did like a lot of sports, and even I played field hockey until my senior year, and my sister convinced me to play soccer my senior year with her, which was a good decision. Like I loved it, but
Did you not play till your senior year?
I played when I was younger, and I played like travel soccer, and then I quit in seventh grade to play field hockey with my friends, and like I had a coach that made me hate soccer. And then my sister and another friend, she was at my high school and she played on the soccer team at Binghamton. Those two convinced me to play my senior year. So,
That's awesome. That's
yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, two things. I think it's cool you played lots of sports because normally when you're a senior, you don't decide to play another sport. Usually you decide to stop playing a sport. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Was there any kickback? Like I was your softball coach mad? Did your parents care? I mean, you probably were going to Binghamton at that point already, right?
Yeah, I just committed the summer before.
Okay.
Was there any pushback by anybody? Like, what are you doing? You're a fool. You're a senior. You shouldn't be playing soccer.
No,
Or were they like, that's great?
my dad threw a party. He hated watching field hockey games. So he's like, I don't get the rules. Like the whistle blows every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He's like, thank God. And it made it a lot easier on my parents going to because Kate was a freshman at the time, but Kate could have gone Division 1 in any sport that she played, which
Yeah.
is craziest part. But so I was playing with her. So we would be at the same games instead of being they would have to drive to two different places on the same night or go back to back nights, different places. So it made it a lot easier on them. So I don't think they really had any complaints. Some of my friends that played field hockey were a little not disappointed, but they're like, what the heck? Not in a serious way because they're my best friends and they don't care what I do, but
Yeah.
they were like, well, we're gonna miss you.
Yeah. That's
Next,
cool.
next question. I feel it's a theme. I mean, we've talked. Wait, I talked when I saw you last in person. Allie and I have had episodes about playing multiple sports. But the other theme I'm picking up on, it seems like with the people that tend to take their careers longer than the average person or play at a level higher than most people. It sounds like when you were young playing sports, they weren't all structured. You were just out playing with friends. You didn't have coaches and trainers and programs and parents telling you what to play. You guys just went out and did it. Is that the vibe? Was that true? Like you were just out playing with your friends?
Yeah, my neighbors were very close in my age and my brother's age. So a few years younger, but still close enough like to where it's not a complete different level. And they were very athletic people too. So I think just being around a bunch of people that want to be outside, that want to play, that want to go swimming afterwards, after you're dripping in sweat, like I think that created a good environment and kind of like set up like, oh, this is fun. Like having fun doing a sport, playing like that's the whole point of playing is to have fun. So I think like that really instilled like finding fun in the game and whatever I was doing at the time.
Was it competitive? Was it competitive? Sorry, Allie.
I know, I was just gonna ask.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
did it teach you how to compete? Do you feel like
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
There were times, well, I was playing with my brother and my sister and my neighbors. So there was probably like a group of like six of us and half of us were related. So sometimes there were a few fist fights or something of the sort like that. But yeah, that definitely like board games in my house, competitive, someone's flipping the board, someone's crying at least half the time. So
oh, but
Relatable, relatable.
it also taught you how to cope too, though. That's huge.
yeah.
You're not
Like,
blaming umpires. You're not blaming a coach. You're just, well, wasn't going to say duke it out, but I guess you guys were duking it out sometimes. Uh, those are all really cool lessons that sports can provide and have fun at the same time when you look back.
Yeah.
yeah. And also I feel like an important thing that's like kind of like the internal like shit talking.
Yeah.
Like obviously a lot of the time I externalized it there, but I think to have the competitive edge, part of that is like, oh, like I'm gonna strike this person out. Like, oh, like this person has nothing on me. Like just having that mindset. It's a lot easier to have with your siblings rather than random people, and definitely don't have it to the same extent. But I think that also instilled like a kind of like a drive and like a fire that
Yeah.
I feel I wouldn't have had in the same capacity.
No, that's awesome. And I guess moving into the transition to college too, how do you feel like all those experiences we talked about, so playing multiple sports and just kind of unstructured, helped you with that transition?
I feel like it just made it a lot easier. I mean, it was definitely a weird transition going from playing a bunch of different sports and then like, okay, this is the one you're gonna do for the next 4 years. So that was a hard thing to adjust. And I kept doing different stuff throughout my time. Nothing like crazy, but just
Yeah.
keeping like I feel like preventing burnout is the biggest thing with doing multiple sports or doing multiple things. Like if you go on a run every day, eventually most likely, or at least I would get tired of running. Me
Yeah.
personally. But like same with anything. If you do everything something every day, if you don't switch it up, if you're doing the same routine, it's gonna eventually lead to like you're getting not even resentment, but just kind of like plateauing. So
Yeah.
I
And yeah, I was just gonna say, and it's tough too because as much as you love all those other sports and you're so excited, like to take softball to the next level, you're kind of grieving the ones that you lost too at the same time because it's not like you just did them for 3 days, like you've been doing them for years. So
yeah.
that was, I think that's tough too.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you've like felt the same way playing multiple sports
Mhm.
and then just kind of switching over to the one, but it helps you in so many different aspects, working different muscles. I feel like it's also great for preventing injury. Like, knock on wood, but I
Yeah,
haven't, there's still time, but I haven't had any like thing major happen to me. I think it's just a lot of working muscles, working different muscles like basketball, you're moving side to side, soccer, you're sprinting a lot, same with field hockey, like softball's not a lot, it's like a lot of quick movements, a lot of like snapping, a lot of like pushing off, twisting. So I think
yeah,
like a whole bunch of different movements combined that like train people's muscles that do like multiple sports.
yeah. And I feel like for those of you who don't know Allie, she's like one of the most athletic people I've ever met. And she's one of those annoying people that's like, go try this, and she's automatically good at it, which is just super frustrating.
Oh, it says
No,
you.
but no, it's awesome. And I think that probably is because growing up you did so much and you just like enjoy competing. Like we could literally be doing something stupid and we would both get fired up about it, but that's what I love. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
I won't shit talk you.
Yeah, yeah. Only for fun.
Yeah, for fun.
uh,
No, and we won't get in a fist fight.
yeah, no.
Definitely
So,
not.
after high school, you pick softball. I mean, you said since around 10th grade, you thought that's the route you would take. What were your expectations when you went to college? Did you have plans to have the career you had, or were you just happy to be there? Did you not think about it? I always like asking people because sometimes I feel like in our area, the biggest moments when someone signs to go to school and they don't realize that's when all the work really begins. So I always like picking people's brain with that question.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I didn't really expect I feel like I thought I could have an impact. I just wanted to go somewhere where I could play and have an impact on a team, like whether that's physically on the field or like helping teammates or whatever it was. I just wanted to have a fun time and I wanted to impact wherever I was or wherever I was going. So I wanted to go to Binghamton and I wanted to like help the team. I wanted to make an impact. And I didn't have any like set expectations like, oh, I want to do this, like I think I can do this. I just wanted to kind of work for whatever the best I could do at that time was.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess what do you feel like the biggest thing you saw in yourself like grow or develop throughout your time there? So from when you stepped on freshman year to your last year when you graduated, like when you look back, it can be softball wise or personal. What do you feel like was the kind of biggest piece of development for you and how was that?
I feel like my belief in myself and my confidence in myself kind of grew over the years. I think that was like a cool thing to like look back on after I graduated and kind of be like, wow, like comparing where I started, comparing my first 2 years to my last 2 years, I think there was a huge difference in the mindset and just like trusting, knowing who has trust in you and like your teammate has trust in you. So you like you have to have that trust, same trust in yourself. Because like I have trust in all my teammates, they have trust in me. So why would I not trust myself and have the same confidence? I think that was the biggest thing that like changed from the beginning to the end to look back on and reflect about that.
Yeah, I think that's super important. I think watching you play, like you always had so much fun too. And I know you talked about, being younger and learning to have fun in your sport. How do you feel like you did that in college? Like, what do you feel like allowed you to keep having fun? And I guess for the young athletes, like, how important is that to enjoy what you're doing to prevent that burnout too?
Yeah, I just think you can't be too hard on yourself, which is coming from two people that are like
Yeah.
hard on yourself. Like you
Yeah.
have to have standards for yourself, but you can't beat yourself up if something goes wrong. Like every practice, every game, every day is not going to be great. But as long as you tried your best, that's what can help you moving forward. So I think just kind of taking it easy on yourself. If your teammate misses a ground ball at practice, you're not going to be like, oh, well, they suck.
Yeah.
Like, but if I miss a ground ball, I'm be like, why? Like, I suck. Like, that's
Yeah.
that can't be the way that like you're thinking. I think being able to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room
Mhm.
and refocus the next day if you had a bad practice is the best way to kind of get yourself out of that mindset. And also just making fun of little stuff, like joking around. I think that's like, I mean, you know us, like that's our
Yeah.
favorite thing to do, and it makes practice enjoyable. And when you're having fun, that like there's nothing that can beat that.
Yeah, like I remember even when we'd have to call timeouts in the infield, we would just go in and like crap would be hitting the absolute fan in the game, and we would just start cracking jokes to each other because
Yeah.
you had to keep perspective and be like, all right, me like being serious to you right now isn't gonna help because you already know the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
I don't need to remind you. Like, I just need to try to get your head somewhere else. And honestly, it was just so funny the stuff we'd say to each other in the middle of the game. But yeah,
Yeah. Because at that point, like again, beating yourself up isn't going to help the situation at hand. If you take that deep breath and you refocus and allow yourself to clear your mind and kind of mentally reset, like say I let in 3 runs, like okay, now there's no one on base, reset, new inning starts now. Just take it like one at a time and kind of work off of that.
yeah, and like taking those emotions and just learning how to channel them, right? Like I was someone who, when I got mad, I did not play well. Allie, sometimes you were someone you got mad. I'm like, let go. Like she's getting this right now. So I feel like just knowing that about yourself and being like, oh, like she just struck somebody out and she's pissed. Like she's coming in here to hit now. Let her cook. Like she's got this. So I think just knowing that about yourself and your teammates too.
Yeah, exactly. Like some things work good for one person, you try and translate that to yourself, and you're like, that was the worst idea I've ever had. Like if I got mad, it was a good game for me.
Yeah.
And sometimes it wasn't like out loud or
No,
like
yeah.
visible, but sometimes it was. Like if there was a bad call, like I'd get like consistent bad calls, I'd be like, oh my gosh. And it just kind of like light a little fire under me.
No, and I mean that in the best way. When I say mad, I mean like fierce. Like
Yeah,
I'm just like, there she goes.
a
She's
little
good.
bit of a fire.
I'm like, she has arrived, ladies and gentlemen.
It's neat to hear because as a fan watching, you never seem to change your emotion at any point in the game. I mean, whether it was a good outing I watched or a bad outing or a bad game or even a game you didn't play, like from my perspective, I wouldn't have known you were mad, happy, sad, or whatever. I think that's the important part is to be able to use it for fuel and not show everybody, right?
Yeah, and then like also you can't get mad at your teammates. Like everyone's trying their best, so it's like obviously I was never mad at anyone on my team. It was always directed at like something outside of our circle.
100%.
because I knew that would help me and it would help like in turn help my team. Kind of light a fire under my like get something going.
No, it was the best. It was awesome. Yeah.
So how were you with feedback, like from your parents' point of view? Because I always joke, my Jenna, Jenna, our Allie's sister, she wouldn't want to talk about anything for a long time when it came to softball. And Allie, on the other hand, would want feedback right away based on good, bad, or just want to communicate about it.
I
After
love
the game, did you did you talk to your folks? Were they offering feedback? Were you like, I don't need it now? Do I need time? I always love this dynamic with families because obviously you have a very athletic and supportive family in general. I just like to hear the behind the scene, not like technical stories, but like how did it work in the Lamero household? Like, did you just need space, or did you guys get right into it, or what?
Yeah, I think when I was younger, so like middle school, high school, like we would get in the car, debrief the game. I hated that. I was like, especially if it was like a bad game, like I'm already mad at myself. So just hearing when you gotta go up stronger for your layups, you gotta start being more aggressive. I was like, it's always stuff that I do know for the most part. So it's like I know and I'm like working on it. So I think my parents have kind of learned to ease off of it. And as I got older, I was also more receptive to it because it's for my best interest. So I think it was a nice combination as I got older. Like in college, they didn't really say a whole lot. Sometimes like minor things after games, but nothing crazy.
Because
So
I think that's good because by the time you're playing at the D1 level, like if you have a bad game, you probably should be pissed at yourself, and you don't
yeah.
need other people telling you that. So it's like I remember one game with my dad, I struck out 3 times, and he's like, "What happened today?" I was like, "I don't know, Dad. He just said to me," and then we just moved on. Like I don't know what to say. And that's just one example, but it's just funny because it's like sometimes if you give space, it's like then I'll come to you with a question 2 days later. Like I'll actually want the feedback instead of like giving it to you in a time or space where you're just not able to receive it well.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one.
Allie, when you were playing, I mean, we'll stick with college. Well, we'll go back to high school. Any time in your career, were you someone that cared about your stats? Did you know how many hits or strikeouts did you have? Did you know what your batting average was, or did you just play? Like, did that matter to you? Because I feel like sometimes with younger kids today, that's all they think about. Like, oh,
Game
my team
changers.
lost, but I was 2 for 4 and put it on Twitter. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Allie's the same way, and it's like we could go 0 for 4 in a game, like with 4 strikeouts. If our team wins, like that's a good day.
Mhm.
Like maybe not for us, but overall, like we won. That's essentially all that matters. So, I mean, I think softball specifically, I never really not cared about my stats, but more like a reflection like, oh, was I able to work on what I wanted to work on? Was I able to translate what I worked on last week into the game this week? How did I carry myself? How was I a good teammate? Or if I wasn't, like, how can I be better? So I think basketball is a lot easier to like carry stats on. But like softball, I mean, basketball, I didn't even really care that much, but I feel like it's easier to track. Softball,
I
I
feel
just out there and play.
I feel like in high school, I'm the same way. Like, I could not tell you one of my batting averages from any year in high school because we just never talked about it. I feel like a lot of parents after the game are, oh, how many hits did you have today? Like, how well did you play today? I feel like the question should be, did you feel like you competed well today? Yes
Yeah,
or no? And that's the main thing because now I see so many kids on, their high school games. Oh, my team lost 8-2, but here's my game changer stats.
yeah,
I understand trying to get recruited. There's just better avenues to do that. And I think, if you go 0 for 4 but have 3 RBIs, that's a good ass day
yeah,
in my eyes because you just contributed 3 runs for your team. Would you rather have gone 4 for 4 with singles with nobody on base?
yeah,
I don't know. So I think that's just gets lost a little bit, but
yeah. I think it's all about just putting it into perspective, like that. Like, oh, like I had 3 RBIs. Were they hits? No, but I helped my team.
yeah.
I was able to
And
do something.
The one that makes me mad is like, let's say you're up to bat and you have a swan, so you swing and it's a bunt and you beat it out. Okay, like why are you standing on first base,
Yeah,
right?
or like a
Because
blue pit.
this game is too hard to not celebrate the little things. Because
Yeah,
next time I'm up, I'm gonna hit a line drive and someone's gonna dive and catch it.
yeah,
So I'm gonna celebrate the time that I get on base, not crazily, right? But I'm not gonna hang my head when I just got on base for my team. It's
yeah,
just that perspective I feel like is
yeah.
so important.
I always had a little oopsies, but here,
Whoops, right where I was aiming.
perfect plans. That's always how it works.
I know.
Well, it's a tough game. My new thing in high school this year, I didn't really pay attention to the girls' batting averages, although it's right in front of you. We tracked every game. Did they hit the ball hard? Did they do something productive? And I kind of kept an average that way. Like somebody could have been 1 for 4, but they might have been 3 for 4 because they had a hard out or, they hit a ground ball, they were out RBI. And if you hit the ball and put it in play every time, you're going to have a super career. But when
Yeah,
you strike out and when you don't get the sack bunt down and when you don't do the other things, now you're stressing about things you can't control. The game's just naturally unlucky sometimes, isn't it?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that was like we had the quab sheet, the quality at bat sheet, and it was like hard hit, a walk,
Hit by
RBI,
pitch, like,
hit by
yeah,
pitch. If it was more than 9 pitches, like
yeah,
stuff that you worked for, you had a good at bat, even if you didn't have the outcome that you may have wanted, like getting on base, score, like you're helping your team when you're tracking it that way. So I think it's more of a we over me type of thing, and I think a lot of people sometimes don't understand that fully.
yeah. And to me, like, that's how you have the most fun because if you're only going to celebrate your own success, you're going to be unhappy a majority of the time. But if I'm celebrating mine, yours, everybody else's, I'm going to be happy a lot more than I'm upset. And to me, that's just a lot more fulfilling than only worrying about yourself and being happy when you perform well, personally.
Yeah, or like one of my biggest pet peeves was either people getting mad after they had a good hit and they caught it, or people getting upset when they had a blue pit or like you're talking about the swan, and but they scored a run. Like what do you have to soak your head about? You hit the ball hard, you got out, or like you scored a run. Like that's something to be proud of, especially in a game that's set up for failure.
Yeah,
Doing something that's success, I would consider.
100%. Slight topic change for you we haven't touched on yet. So I know we've talked a lot about athletics. You're also a student at Binghamton, for people who don't know, but I do kind of want to pick your brain on how important it was for you to be involved in things other than athletics. So student, friend, daughter, sibling, like those parts of your life too that were totally separate from you, being a collegiate athlete. So how important do you feel like those were for just fueling your, mental health and reminding you that, okay, no matter how I perform on the field today, like I have other aspects of my life too.
Yeah, I think spending a lot of time outside, like setting aside time to do fun stuff, kind of gives you back a little bit of life, a little bit of energy that maybe you lost during the week or that you lost that day earlier. Like finding something that you love, whether it's maybe you like going for a run, maybe you want to watch a movie with your friends, maybe you want to take a nap. So I think like just finding what you like or what you need. Some days you really need a nap.
Yeah.
Sure, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I think it's hard like mentally to be like, oh, I have so much to do like school wise, I don't have time for a nap. And I'm sure you felt the same way at times. But like sometimes further down the line towards the end, I kind of realized that sometimes you just have to listen to your body, like and listen to what you need.
Or
So
yeah, no, I was just gonna add on to that too. Sometimes it's hard. Like, let's say we have practice 7 to 9, and you had a really, really bad practice. How do you tune that out for the rest of the day? Because now you have 2 exams, a club meeting, and then a team meeting later. How do you channel that down and say, well, I still need to be a good student today, and I still need to be a good friend, and I have all these responsibilities to do, so I can't let that ruin, the rest of my day, even though I care about it so much.
yeah, I think a lot of the time I would find a person to vent to very briefly, get it out of my system and put it behind. Like even if it was just myself in the car and I was like, well, like holy shit, like what was I thinking? Like why was that terrible? Like it happens. So, and especially when it's something in the morning that kind of ruins your mood. It kind of is hard to put that aside the rest of the day. But I think finding, like you're saying, something outside of the sport or whatever you were doing that made you upset or frustrated, I think finding something outside of that to kind of flip your mood. So like hanging out with some friends, going to get ice cream, watching a movie, like something little. It doesn't have to be anything like, oh, we're going on a trip and we're going to do whatever.
These
Just
extreme
little
things.
things. Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything extreme. And like if you like reading, if you like drawing, if you like listening to music or like going on a walk to clear your mind, just anything that you can do to kind of flush it and reset and finding people that you can talk to about it.
Yeah, for sure. I have one more question too.
No, go ahead. I figured.
So I mean, I know this personally because I played with you. You had a lot of different roles at different times throughout your career at Binghamton. We could list them all, but we'd probably be here for 20 minutes. How do you feel like each of those different roles helped you, get to where you were by the end of your career, Player of the Year? If we forgot, but how do you feel like each of those roles you had kind of gave you perspective on, when you got to the end?
Yeah, but I think I've played more positions in the field than I haven't played in the field. So I think just taking whatever role it is and just embracing it. Like there's games that I didn't step foot on the field, but I'm gonna be the best bench player that I can be. I'm gonna support, I'm gonna watch runners, I'm gonna watch hands, I'm gonna do that. If I'm pitching that day and I'm not hitting, I'm gonna do the best I can to field my positions, like put like the batters in difficult positions, make it easier on my fielders and then like whatever role in the field, just taking it on, embracing it. Like I feel like there's so many people that are like, oh, like I'm not playing today, like this sucks. Like
Checked out. Yeah.
yeah. And it's also like whoever is playing in your position is kind of like you don't I feel like it stuff kind of hits the fan when you're rooting against your own team and your teammates. I think some people do that. And I think that's kind of where a negative mindset starts to take place. And then I feel like it snowballs from there.
100%. And I feel like you guys did such a good job as pitchers, being like, we are truly a staff. If I don't have it today, you do. Come help me, like have my back. And that was really cool to see instead of any sort of animosity toward any of you. It's like, oh my God, thanks for saving me today. Because they had my number and you came in there and you killed it.
Yeah, there were situations where I've put the pitchers behind me in not good spots and they go in and shut it down. There have been times where people have done the same thing and I step in. Like it's about just embracing whatever role. Like I've started games, I've been in the middle, I've closed them. Like just embrace whatever you are and do all that you can and just give 100% in whatever role. Just because you come in the game doesn't mean like, oh, I'm not as good as the person that started the game. Especially it's so team, like who you're playing against, like how the day's going. There's so much like factors into stuff. And I think people just get so caught up in sometimes like, oh, I'm starting, I'm pinch running, I'm pinch hitting, like whatever it is, and then they get in their head about it.
Yeah.
And I've done it before too. It's like it's hard not to sometimes, but I think just kind of embracing the mindset that I'm just gonna do whatever I'm here to do.
This excites me, Allie. You always tell me sometimes when I complain or talk to you about stuff that you have to know where your feet are, right? And we tend to want to have all these successful events happen to us, but so does everybody else on your team, and so does everybody else on every other team. And if you try to measure yourself by outcomes, I don't think you can ever be happy. I mean, in most sports, especially softball. But if you're measuring yourself by how much you compete, how good of a teammate you are, right? How you cheer for other people, I don't think you leave the game as angry or dissatisfied or burnout. And I think you guys watching both of you, I think you both did that.
I think you're also just having more fun when you do that. It's at the end of the day, it's just a game.
Yeah.
It
And
really,
I feel like you and I all did a really good job of reminding each other that, which is why I always appreciate you because like it can get so tough when you're pouring that much time into something, but when you're up at 5 a.m. and like you're looking at me and we're both excited, it's like, hey, what's up, man? It just makes it more, it makes it more exciting. So I think, we did a good job helping each other out in that aspect. And I think that just shows like how important it is to surround yourself with good people because that is totally going to change the trajectory of I guess your mindset going into certain things. Like, oh man, we had 4 hour practice yesterday. We got to get up at 8 a.m. for lifting in today too. But if I walk in and you're smiling and so is everybody else, that's totally gonna help my mood too.
Yeah. The same thing, like when like complaining about something, like we've all been there, everyone's complaining. Like there's stuff people don't want to do. But like again, like every day, I don't want to go. I'm dreading this. Flip it and just make some fun out of it.
I get to be here today.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to get to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Allie, you're retired now.
Mhm.
So
Woo!
what will you
Welcome.
what what will you miss most?
I just think the dynamic of being on a team, like the little things, like you're like we are saying, Allie, like looking like giving each other funny looks in the weight room, like making a slide joke at practice that
Yeah.
only a few people around can hear, or like
Yeah.
shagging, like just little stuff I think will be most missed.
Yeah.
Isn't it ironic? I think that's a common answer, but I think why too many people are playing, they don't think about all that stuff. They think of it as the stuff you miss is the stuff some people think are the biggest chores about what you're doing. And I think that's ironic.
I feel like that's the biggest piece of advice I could give is like enjoy it while you're in it because that truly helps you move on when you're done. Looking back and saying, I know I enjoyed every day
Yeah.
because I gave it everything I had and I didn't complain I was going every day. And so when I look back, I'm not like, oh, I didn't take advantage of what that was. I'm like, no, I do miss that because I loved it more than life and I would go back in a heartbeat and, do some of that. But it's never, hey, I didn't give it all I had. So I think that's something that makes it a little more bearable. I don't know if that's the right word. When it is time to move on, but I don't know how you feel too, Al.
No, I think you did that perfectly.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciating what you have while you have it.
Yeah.
Because not everyone gets to experience playing a college sport, not everyone gets to experience playing a D1 sport, playing with such a good group of people, such good coaches. Like a lot of people don't get the luxury of that. And I think when like it's always like a grass is greener on the other side, but sometimes it's just not.
You got to water the grass you're on.
Ooh, okay.
Ah,
Okay.
there we go.
Do you
Um, oh
I
god.
know you're in grad school now. Uh do you think do you find yourself giving back to the sport in any way someday or in other sport, coaching, any of the above? No, or don't you know?
That's a good question. I think I would give private lessons. Like I don't know about coaching softball. I think if I were to coach a sport, it would be basketball.
Mhm.
But I like the one-on-one aspect of softball.
Yeah.
Like either like pitching lessons, hitting lessons like you do, Allie. You also coach though, but I could also see myself caving and coaching. So
Full circle answer right
yeah.
there.
What advice would you give young kids? I mean, you can even pick the age you want the advice appropriate for. If they find themselves thinking they want to play in college or they just love the game, what advice, what's something you could tell them to help them out?
Yeah. I always say have fun in what you do. And I talked about it a lot today, but if you're not having fun, then there's no point in doing it because then it becomes like a job. And once that becomes the mindset that it's work and you don't get to do it or you don't want to do it, it's not something you look forward to and it takes away from you and it kind of drains you instead of fuels you.
Can hard be fun?
Oh yeah. You
It
can
should
Because
if you're doing the
because I
right
think
thing.
that's the point, right? That's the point. It's gonna be hard and it's gonna stink sometimes, and you're
yeah.
gonna be bad at it. But you have to find the fun in it.
Yeah, you gotta make the hard situations fun. Like there were practices that sucked. But you gotta make a joke. You gotta do something funny because if it's not a good atmosphere, something's gotta flip, and you gotta do all that you can to at least get a few people going, get like something started. And I think that's kind of like finding the fun in the hard, like you're
Yeah.
saying.
There were times we'd walk off the field, I'm like, man, that was like tough.
Oh,
And and we would just kind of be like, yep, but tomorrow's a new day. Let's, move on because being sad about it for 3 hours is gonna help either. So I think that's really good advice.
Were you good at, I keep coming up with questions now. Were you good at compartmentalizing? Like if you had a bad day, did that mean you could still have a good practice? Or if you had a bad practice, could you still have a good rest of your day? Did you find that hard, or did you just naturally, were you able to do that? Because obviously you could do that. I should have reshaped the question because you have had a successful college career, but I guess what I'm going to ask you now, was that difficult to do?
Yeah, I got what you're. I got
Ask the
you. I got
question
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one more time. No.
But I think I used to be a lot not hard on myself because I still I'm disciplined, not as hard on myself, if that makes sense. Like if I got a bad test grade in high school, I would be like, God, I'm so stupid. Like, and it would just kind of ruin my day. I get a bad test grade now. I'm like, as long as I tried my best,
Yeah.
then like there's nothing else I could have done. Maybe I just didn't understand the material. Maybe he or she didn't teach it well. Like there's so many other factors that play into stuff. Or maybe I didn't study enough, but there's always
Minor detail.
there's always a bunch of different factors. But like there's different things that can contribute to a bad day. And I think I realized letting it snowball, like if you ask me what grade I got sophomore year in X class, like I can't tell you what I got. Like it doesn't, I'm like, if it doesn't matter, what's the thing people say? If it doesn't matter in 5 years, don't spend 5 minutes thinking about
I
it.
was just gonna say that was one of my favorite pieces of advice my dad ever gave me. If it doesn't matter a year from now, don't think about it for more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So, which is easier said than done, might I add.
Yeah.
100%.
But I think a big piece of that is also taking like, all right, well, I didn't do this time, so next time I'm gonna try and do this better, or maybe I need to switch what I'm doing, or ask for help. Like maybe I have a friend that's really good at whatever it is. Like maybe I have a friend in the class that did well. I'll be like, hey, how did you study? Or can you help me study for the next one? Like I think it's just using your past experiences and kind of fueling your future experiences.
Yeah. Speaking of using your past to fuel, so you're in nursing school right now. I don't think we've mentioned. Kudos to you. That's awesome. How do you feel like some of the traits you've developed, we've talked about today from, athletics have helped you deal with any sort of adversity or struggles you're, dealing with in your life now?
Yeah, so my program is accelerated, so it's only 2 years and it's just 1 year now. So like everything like 15-week courses are 5 weeks. So like multiple exams every week. So I think the biggest, well, I'm sorry. The biggest thing that's helped me is time management. Like looking at some of my classmates and some of my friends, I think comparing like how I use and structure my time compared to the way they structure their time is so profoundly different. And I've like the first few weeks, I was like, I have so much time to study. I think this is the craziest thing ever. And I
Yeah.
think just like figuring out, still being able to like do fun stuff and finding time for myself. Because again, like if you only do one thing, you're gonna burn out. Like it can be applied to any aspect of life, specifically sports, but like school's the same way. A lot of things are the same way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's I struggle with that too, and I think most people do. Like, I'll get caught up in the things I'm doing now, like life after softball, and be like, I have no time. And I'm like, well, I do have time because somehow I played softball 20 hours a week. So, like, I made it somehow. Just because that's gone doesn't mean I have to fill it with other work. Like, I can do something else. So, it's either one, you're not managing it well, or two, I feel like a lot of people wake up earlier and make time,
yeah.
which is something that a lot of people don't want to do.
Yeah, but if the thing is, if like you want to do something, you will find time to do it, and that's my biggest thing. So that's something I live by, and I tried to apply that to school, and I think it's worked really well. I've gotten good grades. I've been doing fun stuff. Been golfing, Paul.
Yes, yes, yes.
How's the swing looking?
It's all right. Switching it back to full golf swing, no softball anymore. So
Right.
been adapting. Had my dad help me, but been good.
I think the three of us and your father should play golf next time Allie's in town.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
down.
You guys can also come here to play.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Or you
Kidding.
could come here.
That's probably the better option.
Allie, it was awesome having you on. I think you handled yourself very well, which I expected nothing different. I mean, player of the year.
All right.
Yeah, and
Right. No, but anything else you want to add out? Any advice? Closing remarks? Any
Have
sort
fun.
of crap you want to talk about me or my
Oh yeah, but that's Paul and I. We're gonna stay on after and just talk crap about you.
I don't want to drop
Yes.
off now.
Well, we did that before because Little Miss Organized was late to the show today.
Yeah, you want to watch the
But
Olympics?
that's all right.
Watching the Olympics on the couch.
Take that one.
God,
You know,
like it
when
doesn't
I
happen
did
every
something,
3
I
years.
could not turn it off halfway through a beam routine. I needed to see it through, so I apologize.
Fair. Was it USA?
Yes.
Okay, then that's fair.
Simone Biles was on the
Oh,
beam.
okay.
Come on. Okay. Yeah.
Well, so I can't wait to surprise you. I found I found the name of the episode based on what we talked about. There'll be
Oh.
some clips. You'll probably go viral, Allie. But thanks so much again for taking time out of your nursing and your studying
Yeah.
and the evening to speak with us. Hopefully you'll be a return guest someday.
Oh, I will be. As long as I'm welcome back.
You're
Once
welcome back.
once the golf swing's better, come back on.
Yeah, maybe we can just do a little film of us golfing session.
Yes. Live
Yeah.
pod at the course, just talking smack.
Yeah, mic up.
Because I do know your dad's good at that too.
Talking crap or golf?
Well, he's good at both.
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much, Al. You're the best.
Yeah,
Allie,
thanks
thanks.
for having me.
Yeah.